This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is still best of friends with America, despite a number of Israeli officials suggesting Washington involvement in the nationwide protests that have swept the country over proposed judicial reforms. Also ahead on the program, a big meeting in Moscow today as Iran and Russia talk U.S. sanctions, the Ukrainian conflict, and a comprehensive strategic partnership between the two nations. We'll break all that down. And the Prime Minister of Poland takes aim at the European Union for failing to deliver on the key points of the Western-backed Ukrainian grain deal, resulting in European farmers struggling to survive as oversupply forces local prices to tank. From Moscow to the world.
We offer a variety of no-contract plans, and our U.S.-based customer service team can help find one that fits you. To learn more, visit consumercellular.tv.
Some things just make you feel more alive than others. Like the rush of adrenaline from an SUV that roars from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Jaguar delivers that thrill every day. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes an SUV.
Will Turkey ratify Sweden's NATO membership? Stockholm says it can't fulfill all Ankara's demands. As the bloc's membership requires unanimous approval, what would make Turkey change its mind? And what does all of this mean for NATO's future? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Mohammed Jamjoom. One of the many fallouts of Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been that previously neutral Nordic countries.
Now that's volume at 14. Let's get some volume.
Alright, so setting off here in the 2023 Integra. So the first thing you notice about this, well, you have a really nice low seating. Third time spending a week with this generation Accord. I previously was in the manual 1.5T and then also the 2.0T Touring. And now, first time trying the hybrid though. I really love this hybrid powertrain you have here. It's the same one you also get in the CR-V hybrid, which was just released back in 2020. It's a very unique hybrid system. It's different than most of the others out there. And so what I really love about it is that you have really a lot more silent operation at lower speeds because their electric motors are a little bit more powerful, and it's a different setup than a lot of the others where, you know, they're running through a CVT or a normal automatic. This is direct drive. So basically the only time that the engine is actually even connected to the wheels is whenever you're up at higher highway speeds or whenever you're asking for maximum acceleration. But otherwise, the gas engine basically just a generator for the electric motors, which means you have very smooth electric power delivery, just like an electric car, just a little less strong. But it means that all this that I'm doing is completely silent, completely in electric mode. The battery only has about a mile of range, and it only goes up to very low speed. So it's not, you know, any kind of like plug-in hybrid where those have, you know, more functionality. This is still very limited. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put it up into the sport driving mode. And let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. And here we go. Very immediate acceleration. But there's that CVT just kind of sitting at its red line, and that's it. So, you know, even though it doesn't actually run a normal transmission, it just decides that, okay, we're going to have to do the most amount of charge possible. So it just, you know, springs that engine right up to red line there. Did the same thing with the CR-V hybrid. But it is nice, strong acceleration. That is one new thing for 2021 is they say that the acceleration feeling has been improved both whenever you're out of sport mode, where it'll be a little bit smoother and still a little bit stronger, but then in sport mode they say they actually amped it up so it is a stronger acceleration than what you got before. Basically, as far as the testing and stuff goes, Car and Driver compared the two, and you don't get any faster 0 to 60 time with these little changes to the calibration, but what you do get is just a very punchy, you get an immediate little push from the electric motor, and then you wait for the gas engine to kind of kick in the rest of the acceleration and keep it going the rest of the way. But it still has plenty of power. It'll do a 7.1 seconds 0 to 60. And by the way, it's running a 2-liter Atkinson port-injected 4-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated. And so the gas engine on its own is 143 horsepower, but all combined with the electric motor, you're doing a total of 212 horsepower and then 232 pound-feet of torque. And so that torque figure is really what I think helps this to feel punchier than some of the competition. So, I mean, this will do it's almost a second faster 0 to 60 than a Camry hybrid. Because again, those electric motors are just a little bit beefier here in this, which is great. Another really cool thing about the Accord hybrids is that you have regenerative braking with paddle shifting here. So it'll do it automatically if you don't want to be bothered with the paddle shifters. But if you do want to use them, it's really fun, especially when you're going down, hilly areas and things like that, to pull the paddles here and get some more aggressive regenerative braking. It goes in like 3 different stages, and it's a really fun little thing to play around with. But anyway, we're coming up to the corners here, and let's see how the Accord hybrid handles them. Wow. Oh yeah, this is the good Accord handling that I love. Man, it still is hands down the best handling midsize sedan. It is my favorite one to take around corners, and everything else really, I mean, there have been some that have been improving in the past few years, but they still can't touch the Accord. They can't even get close to feeling as good as this feels. It is just so seamless and so fluid in the way that it goes around corners so effortlessly, and everything feels so good. The steering weight is just right. The body control is really composed. There's no body roll, there's no lean. Everything just goes exactly according to how you want it to go, but it does it so easily that it feels like it has such higher limits, and it just feels really, really good. So one of the reasons why this feels a little bit better than maybe other Accord hybrids might feel is because this is, again, the touring trim with these 19-inch wheels. They're on Goodyear Eagle touring tires. They're not anything sporty, but they are 235 and they're normal tires. If you go for lower trims of the Accord hybrid, which do get better fuel economy, but those will have some more mileage-oriented tires, which give you less grip. So you will note that there will be understeer most likely in those that have a little bit less grip from those tires. But these tires are nice and grippy, even on this day when it's only like 39 degrees here currently. Not a great situation for grip, but I mean, this thing grips so well. So yes, with the hybrid you do have extra weight. So compared to the 1.5T manual that I actually reviewed a few years back, this weighs about 250 pounds heavier. So yes, 250 pounds is a big jump up, and yes, this probably feels just a tiny bit heavier than that Accord did, but this feels just as good as a 2.0T Accord, like the one that I reviewed. I mean, it still feels really good. It doesn't feel heavy. It still is under 3,500 pounds. I think this hybrid is like 3446 for its curb weight. So, I mean, we're still talking about a very light vehicle for how big this car is. And so, I mean, that just means that you're going to have such great handling. They did drop some weight on this generation Accord overall, and that was something that was, one of the big features in 2018 whenever these came out. But man, this thing, it just is so smooth with its handling, and that is what really still cements the Accord as my favorite enthusiast pick in this segment. Whether you're going for the hybrid, whether you're going for one of the 1.5Ts or the 2.0Ts, this still is just hands down so much fun to take around corners. Way more fun than you would expect. And we'll do another acceleration here with the wheels turned. I wanted to spin those tires. That torquey little electric motor is no joke. And man, this thing, that time whenever I was rolling a little bit more there, it takes off. This does not feel slow. It does not feel unsporty. It doesn't feel like it's some kind of Prius or something. Whereas as you see, the hybrid badge does not mean that this thing is not sporty. Honestly, it has more power than when you get the 1.5T Accords, and those have a mushy CVT I'm not in love with. I think this, if you're not going to go for the 2.0T Touring, that has more horsepower and is punchier, you have a normal automatic and all that, that is still going to be probably the most fun for an enthusiast. But if you don't want one of those 2.0Ts, or you are okay with, if you actually want better fuel economy, then I think that this is actually a really great enthusiast pick, and I'll get more into this whenever I talk about pricing in a few minutes. But I mean, you have way more punch than you get out of the 1.5T, and so it's honestly, I would definitely take the hybrid over the 1.5T versions of the Accord. I think this is a much better experience. In addition to all of the fuel savings you'll get extra power, you get a few extra features as well, which is a nice little touch, and you get this really secure feeling with the hybrid too. That, I mean, yeah, the 1.5T felt a little bit lighter, but the power coming out of a Accord with this electric motor and just this more secure feeling you get here with a little bit of extra weight that's nice and low here, you know, with the battery and stuff. Yeah, this feels really, really good still. And yeah, I mean, it's not totally natural with the way the gas engine's reacting, but you know, I love this thing. I think it drives so good. I would just recommend, though, definitely sticking with, you know, one that has good grippy tires on it, because I think if you did have not so great tires on this, then it might, you know, be a little bit less fun and, you know, not live up to your expectations if you're getting a normal lower trim hybrid. But if you're getting one with good tires, or you're willing to swap tires on to your smaller wheels that are a little bit grippier, I think, you know, you might sacrifice fuel economy a little bit, but if you appreciate good handling, you definitely want to have some good tires like these on here, because then it just makes the Accord just feel, I mean, really just so dynamic and so impressive. So, yep, the Accord is still magical around corners. Alright, so now I'm out on the highway here, and so I'm testing out the Honda Sensing system, which does have a few new improvements here for 2021. So they say that the lane centering is now more natural. They also say that the adaptive cruise control system is smoother with slowing down whenever cars are cutting in front of it and things like that. And they also have added some very low speed automatic braking. So if you're going less than 6 miles per hour, if it sees an obstacle there, it can apply the brakes and you know, stop you from bumping into things. So that's also a nice little improvement there. But you know, out on the highway here, it does a really good job. The Honda Sensing system is one of my favorite adaptive cruise control systems. It's right up there with Nissan and even Volvo as being, you know, one of the better systems in my experience, at least. And it's just very assertive. That's what I love about it. It's very confidence inspiring, because it's very just set on staying in the lanes very closely, and it's very intent on centering itself within the lanes. And so I really love that about it. Now, you're going to have to put a little bit of pressure on the wheel and stuff. It's not doing all the steering for you, but it is really nice on longer trips to have it, you know, kind of doing most of that for you. And I really liked even the previous iteration of this system. You know, in the 2018 Accords that I reviewed, I actually did a road trip from New York City to Pittsburgh in the 1.5T manual, and I was very impressed with it on that long trip there. And so this works very well. There was one little time a few days ago where it kind of got a little bit confused, but even at its worst, it didn't even go over the line. It just got closer to the line than I would like. And that's a stark contrast from the Hyundai system, which will easily go over the lanes and you cannot trust it to hold a lane. Whereas this system, I still can always trust it to be doing the right thing and to, you know, be an actual reliable system. And so that's a really big deal. And that means you're going to use this system more often because you have more faith in it than you do in some of the other systems which are a little more glitchy still. So I'm going to...
Now that's volume at 14. Let's get some volume.
Alright, so setting off here in the 2023 Integra. So the first thing you notice about this, well, you have a really nice low seat to drive this vehicle ever since they announced it. And so lots of stuff to take in here. First, if you're used to a normal RAV4 hybrid, it's going to be pretty similar from the get-go. You know, you have very good visibility. All of these new RAV4s are fantastic. Nice thin A-pillars, nice little window here. The mirrors are off onto the doors, so very easy to see around everything. It's just excellent visibility, so that's really great. You are sitting up a tiny bit higher here in the Prime because the battery hangs down a little bit lower here in the Prime version, so they had to lift up the vehicle, I think, about an inch or so just to give you the same amount of ground clearance as you get in a regular RAV4. So you might notice that if you're a RAV4 aficionado, but otherwise it's going to feel very much the same. Brakes also have the same feeling as the regular hybrids, where you can feel it's a tiny bit odd, but it is almost perfect with how seamless it is. and does a really good job. Other things here, you have a nice and quiet ride. They actually said for the Prime version, they have laminated side front glass here and also a little bit more sound deadening, so that whenever you're driving in EV mode, you don't hear as much road noise that would usually be drowned out with engine noise in a normal RAV4. And also, since this one's a little bit more expensive, they wanted to quiet it down a little bit to fit in line with that price tag you get here on the Prime for 60 time, even if the battery is almost drained, because it always keeps enough juice in that battery to give you that acceleration, unless it is like just completely dead, which this has a little bit of juice in it, so we should still be able to do a normal acceleration and see how it does. You won't be able to do a 0 to 60 in EV mode, but you won't be able to do one here with the gas engine helping you out. So we'll go ahead and put it into the sport driving mode, put the transmission, it doesn't really have a transmission, put that into sport mode too, and let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. Here we go. Oh man! Chirps the tires and then takes off. Wow. All right. Man, that 302 horsepower does not disappoint. And I really love it. So the suspension setup's a little bit softer here. So the whole front end lifts up and it feels like you're like drag racing or something, how much you feel like it's really taking off and launching into the stars. And it's so immediate with the electric power too that it really gives this a ton of punch. Man, oh man, this thing does not mess around. That 5.7 seconds 0 to 60 time, by the way, is conservative. That's Toyota's claim. Car and Driver actually managed to get 5.4 seconds. And I 100% believe that. I think theirs was without the, they got rid of the rollout, which is about 0.3 seconds. That's how they got down to that 5.4. But man, oh man, this thing, even whenever you're just kind of cruising, you just do like half throttle, ooh, it does not mess around. This thing flies. So it's very impressive. If you do want to do a completely electric 0 to 60 with, a battery that has a decent amount of charge in it, you can still do that in 9.2 seconds. So that kind of goes to show you just how powerful the electric motors are here in the RAV4 Prime, that, it can still be faster in a drag race than like a Subaru Crosstrek or something like that, even in EV mode. So you have about 177 of those horsepower that come from the gasoline engine, and then you have about 179 pound-feet of torque as well, I believe, that comes from that gas engine. Same as a regular RAV4 hybrid, but then you have two electric motors in the front that are from the Highlander hybrid, and then you have the same electric motor in the rear from a regular RAV4 hybrid. So there isn't any extra power in the rear over a regular hybrid RAV4. It's just in the front, which is why you get that front wheel spin, because there is a ton of power going through the front wheels there, and it is pretty bonkers. Now, the electric motors, I can give you all the specs for them, but they don't add up. If you were to actually add up the peak power of all the electric motors and the gas engine all combined, you'd be over 400 horsepower. But for some reason, that doesn't do 400 horsepower combined. We're at 302. Torque figures aren't given by Toyota, by the way, in their hybrids, but I would say that it's definitely very healthy. But anyway, we're coming up some corners here, and let's see how the RAV4 Prime handles them. So, we got some nice light steering. Okay, so the tires, I can hear them complaining a tiny bit, with some spirited cornering here, but it's not bad. So it has these 19-inch wheels, and we are on slightly wider tires. They're 235 wide Yokohama Avid all-season tires versus the 225s you normally get on a RAV4. So a little bit extra width, and man, I could feel that electric motor wanted to kick in back there and kind of bring the tail around, but then stability control intervened and kept everything in line. And so yes, it will, give you a little bit of a neutral feeling with that electric motor in the back, which is so punchy since it's, instant power from the electric motors there. But this is still going to feel like a front biased all-wheel drive system, because you just have so much power going through those front wheels. And so, I don't think you can really balance this too much. I mean, it does feel fairly neutral. And again, the 19-inch wheels give you, a little bit of better cornering ability as well. But really the big thing that holds the RAV4 Prime back a little bit with its handling is its curb weight. So these weigh roughly about 500 pounds heavier than a regular hybrid RAV4. 500 pounds is a big chunk of change in any vehicle. And so that puts this around, this XSE, Toyota claims is about 4,300 pounds. If you went for a regular SE version without some of the toys this one has, you'd be around 4,230, I believe they said. So 4,300 pounds. Car and Driver claims it's about 4,400 pounds. They claim the weight gain is almost 600 pounds over a regular hybrid. So, it is heavy. You feel that weight a little bit. Now, the good thing with the extra weight is it's all in those batteries for the most part. I mean, you have the extra electric motor in the front, but most of that is the batteries, which are nice and low in the vehicle. So I think you technically will have a lower center of gravity, even though you have a little bit of an extra lift in the suspension and all that extra weight. It does handle itself pretty well, I will say, but it's not super sporty, and I still don't think it is the best handling vehicle in its class. I think the Mazda CX-5 still has it beat, but I think this is still towards the top of the class as far as handling. It's just that you can't defy physics, and whenever you throw, an extra 500 pounds into a corner, you're going to feel that a little bit. And obviously they tuned the RAV4 suspension for extra comfort, and so it will give you a little bit of extra lean just because this is a family cruiser and this isn't supposed to be some type of sports car or something. But that's just, interesting thing to note there. That time it really wanted to spin the tires, and you feel some torque steer through the front wheels too. So those who love their front wheel drive hot hatches, you'll feel right at home in this, but then you still have the all-weather traction with the rear electric motor and stuff. But it's really kind of funny how much it wants to trip those tires. It just goes to show how much of a hot rod this really is and just how responsive it is. Anyone who's ever driven a Tesla or any kind of electric vehicle knows how immediate that power is. You don't have to wait for an engine to get to a higher RPM to make that peak power. It's instant and instantaneous. And yes, this gas engine, has to rev itself up to give you the full-blown 302 horsepower, but you have that instant thrust of that electric motor, and it is addicting. And like I suspected, this kind of is the best of both worlds, because again, you have that electric instant punch and that giggle factor that you get out of electric powered vehicles, but then you still have the gas engine to get you home, so you don't have to worry about your range all the time. You don't have to worry about charging and sitting at a gas station for 50 minutes waiting for your vehicle to charge up and stuff. It's just instant. But man, this thing is so much fun. I like the regular RAV4, but this blows it out of the water. Hands down, this is the enthusiast one. Because I think it does handle itself pretty well too. Well, it's not amazing or anything. It still is an SUV. I would love to see them do a TRD version of the RAV4 Prime. That would, maybe have a little bit of a stiffer suspension setup. But even as this sits, if I needed an SUV, this would probably be my top pick. There's some others, that are a little bit more expensive that might be a little more appealing from a sportier standpoint. But I think for the value you get out of this, being able to save so much money with the electric range and everything, it really, I think, makes a lot of sense. You're going to save a ton of money. You still have all the power you want, all the range you want, and you still have the fun electric thing whenever you're in the mood for it too. It's really, like I said, really the best of both worlds. Other things though, so I'm going to put it back into the sport mode, and we have these paddle shifters here, and they will kind of give you more aggressive ratios to give you a little bit of a shift feeling, but it really doesn't do much. So I think mostly what the paddle shifters are for is to help you with some regen. So I did try it out whenever I was going down a hill earlier to try and charge up this battery a little bit, and whenever you downshift, it will kind of give you some additional regen there, but it doesn't feel like electric regen. It feels more like your engine braking, but it is actually putting more power, more electricity back into that battery whenever you do that regen. But yeah, I'm upshifting and I feel no shift points. And that makes sense because there isn't any real transmission in this vehicle. That electric power is going straight to the wheels and stuff. And the engine is kind of just a one-to-one kind of drive to it. And so, yeah, but whenever you do downshift, that's where you're going to notice it regens more and more. So these paddle shifters are only on the XSE version of the RAV4 Prime, by the way, so you have to go for an XSE to get them. If you're an enthusiast, it is kind of fun to be able to control your own regen, and that's something I'm going to play around with a lot more. If you just are wanting an economical RAV4, you're not going to miss the paddle shifters, and yeah, you might get a little bit of extra, electricity out of that regen, but it's something most average consumers aren't going to want to mess with, and you're better off just, leaving it alone and letting it do its own thing, because it is so intelligent with the way that it maximizes your range and whatnot. But yes, overall, I am very pleasantly surprised with the way this thing drives. And a couple other things to note here. So, it's very refined with the way that it switches on and off with the gas engine. And when I'm parked, actually, even without the radio on, I didn't even realize the gas engine was kicking on, except I felt a little nudge, and I was like, it almost felt like someone bumped into me or something. And then I was like, oh wait, it says it's not in EV mode anymore. It's actually kicking on the gas engine, but it really is very refined. I mean,
That's volume at 14. Let's get some volume.
Alright, so setting off here in the 2023 Integra. So the first thing you notice about this, well, you have a really nice low seat. I think, one thing that I really like about the IS350 is you still have a fairly low seating position, but you still have very good visibility because the way this vehicle is set up on the inside here, you have a pretty low dashboard, you have a windshield that's very close to you. And so that combined with these very thin A-pillars and mirrors that are way off onto the doors, it just gives you really good visibility forward, and that's something you don't always get in all the other competitors. So I think that's really great. View out of the back is also really good. Another thing that I notice is, everything in the IS350, since this is based on a vehicle that dates back about 8 years, it has a little bit more of an old school feeling. So the throttle response is a little more natural. You have a normal 6-speed automatic transmission, which is kind of dated, but it's very predictable as well. The brakes don't have any kind of weird feeling or anything. It all just feels like you would expect it to. And I mean, I've reviewed ISs in the past, and this feels very, very similar in a lot of ways. One notable way that this does feel better, though, is the ride quality. Even with this dynamic handling package, the bigger wheels, and all that stuff, the ride is noticeably smoother than what I remember in just a non-F-Sport IS350, which didn't even have, a sporty suspension setup. That still felt a little stiffer than this. Again, ride control, you get the Cadillac CT4V and CT5V and stuff like that, but it does, help to make this feel softer. And I just noticed that it translates to a smoother ride. There is also new shock absorbers now, and so those certainly help with that increased ride comfort as well. Let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. Here we go. Wow, instant response. Sounds really good too. So this does have this sound assist. It's an acoustic sound enhancer that this thing has. That is turned up all the way. So I heard a little bit of speaker stuff, but you still get some nice V6 sound, induction note especially. Not much exhaust, but it does sound really meaty and healthy. Sounds really good. So anyway, this still runs the same 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. It does 311 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 times are about 5.7 seconds here with the all-wheel drive version. It drops to 5.6 if you have the rear-wheel drive version. Part of that is because the rear-wheel drive version of the IS350 F Sport gives you a summer tire. And this, you have all-season Bridgestones on the all-wheel drive version. So you're going to have a little bit less grip here in this all-wheel drive version, which is what this one is, by the way. So if you want the best handling, I'm going to say even before we turn on to the windy road, that you're going to want to get the rear-wheel drive version if you don't absolutely need that all-wheel drive. Or you just get the all-wheel drive version and upgrade tires yourself. But that's just one little thing to note. But we'll go ahead and do the manual mode and see if they've improved the shift times here on this 6-speed automatic. It is a dated transmission, but let's see how it does.
All right, let's get back to the music.
Alright, so it's the typical Lexus transmission. Upshifts are a little lazier than you'd like them to be. Downshifts are surprisingly fairly quick. I do like living in manual mode though, because it allows you to really hang on to those gears. Because it seemed like even in Sport Plus mode, it wasn't quite as aggressive as I was looking for it to be. But I'll go ahead and put it back into the drive mode. We'll see if it sharpens itself up whenever we're on these windy roads here, which we're coming up to right now. So let's see how the dynamic handling package IS350 handles. Alright, so it feels pretty good. I've noticed it feels like it's got a good amount of grip. Even though they're all-season tires, this does seem to be gripping, and the tires seem to be protesting less than, for example, the Genesis G70 with its all-season tires that I reviewed. That had lower limits for its tires. So these tires are pretty good, these Bridgestone Turanzas, at least compared to the all-season Michelins that the Genesis was running. But anyway, it handles itself really well. So I think, being in the Sport Plus mode here, we have that adaptive variable suspension and a little bit of a stiffer setup, but it really isn't, super stiff or anything. I haven't noticed a wild, drastic change in the ride quality or anything. And yeah, so it still has some, I think a little bit lower limits. The handling still is not best in class by any means or anything like like that. It does feel less agile than the G70s. Even though the G70's tires kept failing it in the all-wheel drive version, that it still was much more eager to turn in. It had a little bit of a lighter steering feel. Same thing goes for the Cadillacs. This has a little bit of a heavier steering, but then also just the vehicle itself feels a little weighty. And now the curb weight of these is only 3,880 pounds. So as far as the actual numbers go, it's pretty par for the course. So I don't have any complaints with that necessarily, but you know, it's just something you do feel a little bit. I think part of that is to blame for the all-wheel drive system. If you do go for a rear-wheel drive version, by the way, in addition to getting the better grip, you also do get a Torsen limited slip differential, and so that helps you put power down very well and stuff. So the rear-wheel drive version, I'd be very curious to try. I still think the Giulia is the king as far as handling goes. I think the G70 is the next runner-up, the Cadillacs, and then everything else kind of falls in the middle there, aside from the BMW 3 Series, which I still have not reviewed, so I cannot talk about that one. But I was hoping this would feel a little bit lighter than it does, you know, with the forged wheels and all the unsprung weight reductions, you know, and it does feel better. It certainly feels better. It's very nice and flat. That is one thing they do such a good job with, is keeping the ride very flat while still giving you very good handling, but very good ride quality as well. And so I like all of that. I just wish it was a little more eager feeling. Another acceleration? It is responsive though. There is no waiting period in the Lexus, so I really like that, because a lot of modern cars, you know, they want to start in second gear and you're sitting there trying to figure out what you want to do for a second before you take off. In this, there is none of that. So that kind of goes back to that old school fashion of, you know, the way this thing drives in some ways. It's just really impressive from a luxury standpoint. Like, this road is pretty rough. You're not hearing much road noise. You're feeling very little of this, you know, grooved road. And it does a really good job of just soaking everything up, making everything very luxurious in here. And so, as much as this dynamic handling package has improved things, I think I'm more impressed with the improvements in luxury and refinement for the refresh of the IS here than, you know, even the sporty factor. But yeah, even in the Sport Plus mode, this transmission is way too eager to upshift. I mean, I guess I gotta be pulling some really intense G's for the transmission to get the hint that I'm trying to do some enthusiastic driving and want to be in a lower gear, because it's still like I get on the gas and it's like, oh wait, we got to give them a downshift first and then we'll start applying power. So there is a little bit of a lag there in that you know, makes us feel a little less sporty. And you know, I still feel like if I push it, I start to feel a little bit more of an understeer than I do oversteer sometimes. Alright, so there it held onto the gear a little bit. So it does do it sometimes. It's just a little bit selective in the way that it does that. I have mixed feelings about it. I wish it was going to be a little bit better than it is, but it is still very good. It still is handling itself very, very well. And it's keeping up pretty well on this back road. Again, for how smooth the ride is, you know, it's impressive that it does perform as well as it does. But, you know, it's fairly neutral. You know, it doesn't feel understeery or anything, but it doesn't feel oversteery either. So that's kind of, you know, usually with sports sedans, I like them to feel a little bit like they're trying to be a little bit tail happy. And maybe the rear-wheel drive version would feel more like that. But this all-wheel drive version, it feels very safe, but still, you know, feels willing and eager to, you know, give you the spirited driving experience as well. But one of the other things you get here with the dynamic handling package is this custom drive mode. And, you know, some of the others do also offer a custom drive mode, but in a lot of the others, it's a lot more customizable. This, it really only gives you a choice of how sporty you want the powertrain, and then how sporty you want the suspension. It's just those two things, basically. So it's nice because it gives you the opportunity, if you want to have a soft ride, if you do want the powertrain to be all, you know, sharpened up, you can have that. And so that's nice, but it would be nice to dial in the steering and throttle response and all those types of things as well. And instead in this, you know, none of that stuff's really customizable. But I think for most of the time you're going to be fine just putting into Sport or Sport Plus, getting that heavier steering and the quicker throttle response at that point. And you know, so the custom mode is nice to have, but like I said, I just wish it was a little bit more customizable. So now we're cruising on the highway here in the IS350. And you know, you hear some road noise now, of course, at highway speeds like you do in any other vehicle, but I'd say it's pretty refined for this class of, you know, vehicle, the compact luxury sedan class. I think it does a really good job. Also, I'm trying out the new adaptive cruise control system, part of the new Lexus Safety Suite 2.0 that they have here. And with that, you have lane centering assist and lane trace assist. And in the past, Toyota and Lexus systems have been a little more passive with their steering, but now this new version of the system does take a more active role in the steering. And so I have it on currently, and obviously you still have to keep your hands on the wheel and be paying attention and everything, but it does all of the steering still. And so this now brings it up to par with the Honda and Acura systems, the systems from many of the other competing vehicles, and it does a very good job. There's one time, so we're in, obviously with some very, very bright sunlight right now, and there's 1 second where it lost track of the road lines here, but otherwise it's been doing it totally fine, and I'm letting it do all the steering here. I'm just kind of resting my hands on the wheel, and it is going around these corners just fine. It's not ping-ponging. It seems like it's staying nice and centered in the lane here. It's not, veering to one side or the other. Some vehicles.
From Hot Wheels, this is the Studebaker Avanti in a treasure hunt series with die-cast metal bottom and a really classy paint job. Gold with a white racing stripe. I like that. It works on the Avanti, which is one of the most curious yet attractive cars out there. The thing with the Avanti is that most of the outside of the vehicle doesn't look like it would be anything special until you look at it from the front, and then it's an Avanti, which is just cool. The back end and the overall styling are all terrific, and the Treasure Hunts one, which has plastic wheels, has that solid, hefty die-cast metal bottom, giving the car a lot of weight. This is a 1963 variant of the Avanti. Check out the back end, and watch it drive away. It's the Studebaker Avanti from Hot Wheels.
Government, of course, I don't know, but Senator Tom Cruise today himself said that this is the case. So again, I don't know, but would it be the
It is an American movie theater chain headquartered in Knoxville, Tennessee. A division of Cineworld, Regal operates the second largest theater circuit in the United States, with over 7,200 screens in 549 theaters as of October 2019. The three main theater brands operated by Regal Entertainment Group are Regal Cinemas, Edwards Theaters, and United Artists Theaters. 1989 to 2003, there is the word Regal in black text, and coming out from the letter R there is a black film strip, and under it there is the word Cinemas in black text. Here is an intro. From 2003 to 2011, there is a yellow, blue, green and red circle on a red outline, and on it there is a black and white crown, and under the circle there are the words Regal and Cinemas in red text. Here is an intro. From 2011 to 2018, there is a yellow, blue, green and red circle on a black outline, and on it there is a black and white crown, and on the right of the circle there are the words Regal and Cinemas in black text. Here is the word mark and an intro. From 2018 to the present, there is an orange shape, and inside it there is an orange letter R, and on the right of the shape there is the word Regal in orange text. Here is the stacked version, the vertical version and a commercial. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about Dell Inspire. It is a line of consumer-oriented laptop computers, desktop computers and all-in-one computers sold by Dell. The Inspire range mainly competes against computers such as Acer's Aspire, Asus's Transformer Book Flip, VivoBook, and ZenBook, HP's Pavilion, Stream and Envy, Lenovo's IdeaPad, Samsung's Sens and Toshiba's Satellite. 1997 to 2007, there is the word Inspire in black text. Here is a commercial.
When you buy a bargain basement PC, what you're really buying is a mystery box. Will there be a monitor? Probably not. Lots of software? Ha! A free year on the internet? 24/7 tech support? Dream on. With a Gateway Essential PC, you know exactly what you're getting. Monitor, great software, award-winning tech support, and free internet access, all for $28 a month. No mystery there. Call 1-800-GATEWAY for a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor.
2006 to 2009, the font has changed, and now all the letters are in lowercase. Here is a commercial.
This is the PC that gets through homework at the speed of an Intel Pentium 3 processor that powers the ideas that come to life on a bright, vivid monitor and print out in full color. This is the compact Presario 7000T with one-touch internet access that for just $10.99 lets your family see the whole world wider. Call us direct at 1-800-337-1929 now, and you'll also get a free internet phone.
2007 to 2012, the font has changed, and now all the letters are in uppercase. Here is a commercial.
Let your notebook say something about you. Personalize your Inspiron notebook with a changeable skin. Get your media on the go. Build your light, easy-to-carry Inspiron E1405 with an Intel Core Duo processor. And go online for a chance to win a notebook all day, every day. Dell, purely you.
2012 to 2018, the font has changed, and now all the letters are in lowercase. Here is a variant and a commercial.
This is the Dell Inspiron 2-in-1. It has 4 versatile modes and a 6th-gen Intel Core processor for getting more done. Like rocking marine biology term papers or making the baddest beats on campus. Inspired by you, multitasking double major, we love your work.
From 2018 to the present, the font has changed, and now only the letter I is in uppercase. Here is a commercial. Alright, now I'm gonna talk about Foxtel. It is an Australian pay television company operating in cable television, direct broadcast satellite television, and IPTV streaming services. It was formed in April 2018, superseding an earlier company from 1995. The service was established as a 50/50 joint venture between News Corporation and Telstra, with News Corporation and Telstra holding 65% and 35% ownership shares respectively. 1995 to 2002, there is a dark blue rectangle, and inside it there is the word Foxtel in white text, and under it, there are 2 orange rectangles. Here is a variant and a commercial.
If they don't kill you, I will.
Hello?
What are you doing?
Laying cables for the information superhighway.
Wow.
You want to have a look?
All right. Awesome.
Welcome to a whole new world of entertainment.
Foxtel, over 20 channels, cable TV 24 hours a day, hundreds of movie premieres.
Wow.
Hit series, Super League, 24-hour news channels, great sport, classic movies, cartoons, non-stop music, documentary and kids channels, television favorites.
This is so cool. I'll show you cool. Oh, cool. Foxtel.
It's cable, it's coming.
I want my Foxtel. Wow!
2002 to 2005, there is the word Foxtel in dark blue text, and on the right of it, there is a dark blue square, and on it there are 2 white searchlights, and under them, there are 2 orange shapes. Here is the digital version, a variant and an intro. (2005 to 2012), the word Foxtel and the square are now orange. Here is the print version, the digital version and a commercial.
Hurry, EFS is almost over. There's only 3 days left to get Foxtel for just $22 a month for 6 months on our starter pack with free installation. Call Foxtel on 131 787 today.
2012 to 2017, there is the word Foxtel in orange 3D text. Here is the print version, the black version, a variant and a commercial.
Get ready for some serious entertainment.
Everybody ready?
It's Foxtel's seriously big winter sale. Try every TV pack free for the first 2 months on a 12-month plan, plus no setup costs on an IQ3, saving you $495.
I'm ready. Oh!
Hurry, sale ends June 21.
2017 to 2018, there are 6 red circles, and on the right of them there is the word Foxtel in red text. Here is the print version, the icon, the word mark, a variant and a commercial.
Oh, it's you. Am I disturbing your little movie? Well, guess what? This isn't movie night, it's mating night. And you're at the top of my celebrity cheat list. You know you want it.
Life happens to us all. Start over entertainment with Foxtel IQ3. Order yours today.
2018 to 2020, the circles have been removed, and the text is darker. Here is the print version and a commercial.
It's mum-daughter time. Kelly's got a surprise up her sleeve. After all, life's more entertaining when it's shared. Scroll down, Kel. Never thought I'd see that. Netflix on Foxtel.
Now get Netflix and Foxtel side by side on Australia's best TV and on-demand experience, all in one place.
2020 to the present, the font has changed, and the text is now in capital letters. Here is an intro. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about KSTW. It is a television station licensed to Tacoma, Washington, United States, serving the Seattle area as an affiliate of the CW. Owned by the CBS News and Stations Group, the station maintains studios on East Madison Street in Seattle's Cherry Hill neighborhood, and its transmitter is located on Capitol Hill east of downtown. 1953 to 1958, here we have the logo of the first KSTW's name, KTNT-TV. There is the word KTNT-TV in red text, and under it there are the words Channel and 11 in black text. Here is a variant. 1958 to 1960, there is a white number 11 on a black outline, and under it, there is the word KTNT-TV in black text. 1960 to 1962, there is a black square, and inside it, there are the words KTNT-AM and FM in white text. 1962 to 1974, there is a black square, and inside it, there is the word KTNT in white text, and under it, there is a white number 11. Here is a bumper.
Discover suspense, drama, hardship, danger, and beauty beyond description with The Explorers.
1974 to 1976, they changed its name to KSTW. There is a black ring, and inside it there is a black number 11. 1976 to 1987, there is a yellow shape, and inside it there are the words WKRP 630 and weeknights in brown text, and under the shape there are the words KSTW Tacoma and Seattle in white text, and on the right of them there is a golden ring, and inside it, there is a golden number 11. Here is the print version and a bumper. 1987 to 1990, there is a yellow ring, and inside it, there is a yellow number 11, and under the ring, there are the words KSTW Washington Tacoma and Seatley in yellow text. Here is a bumper. 1990 to 1995, there are the words KSTW and TV in white text, and between them there is a yellow ring, and inside it, there is a yellow number 11, and under the ring, there are the words Tacoma and Seattle in white text. Here is a bumper.
You're watching KSTW Northwest 11.
1995 to 1997, there is a red square, and inside it, there is a white number 11, and on the right of it, there is a yellow CBS logo that consists in a yellow circle inside a yellow shape, and under the square, there is the word KSTW in black text. Here is the news version and a bumper.
Live from Channel 11, you're watching 11 at 11.
1997 to 1998, there are 3 shapes, 1 yellow circle, 1 blue triangle and 1 red square, and on them there is the word UPN in white text, and on the right of the shapes, there is a blue number 11. Here is a bumper. 1998 to 2002, the shapes and the number are now silver, the word UPN is now in black text, and now under the shapes and the number there are the words KSTW and Seattle in white text. 2002 to 2006, there is a blue ring, and inside it, there is the word UPN in blue text, and on the right of the ring, there is a blue number 11, and under the number, there are the words KSTW DT36 and Seattle in blue text. Here is a bumper.
This concludes another broadcast day for KSTW Television, Tacoma, Seattle, Washington.
2006 to 2012, there is the word CW in dark green text, and inside it, there is the word the in dark green text, and on the right of the word CW, there is a light green number 11, and under it, there is the word KSTW in light green text. Here is a bumper. 2012 to the present, now the word KSTW is bigger, its font has changed, and everything is in the same shade of green. Here is a variant and a bumper.
Watch Seattle Now News at 10. Premieres Monday on CW 11.
Recognize the admission of Finland and Sweden to NATO, because we all know that, looking from an historical perspective, NATO members have brought their national issues to the...
In fact, the 2001 BMW 3 Series lineup includes 10 distinct models spread across 4 body styles, and many of them now come with all-wheel drive. But this week we'll focus our attention on the 2 newest 3 Series body styles, the 3 Series Convertible and the 3 Series Sport Wagon, 2 cars at opposite ends of the 3 Series spectrum. This 325 CI convertible is perfect when drop-top cruising is in order. A manual top with glass backlight is standard, but our premium package equipped tester boasts a power top that requires only 1 button to put you in the wind. Stirring it up is an improved 2.5-liter double overhead cam Vanos Time 24-valve inline 6 that makes 184 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque. These numbers hold true for all 325s, including our test wagon. But the numbers at the track were noticeably different. With both cars running a 5-speed manual trans, a 5-speed automatic is also available. The heavier convertible could only muster an 8.6-second run to 60 and 16.4 seconds and 85 miles per hour as it passed through the quarter mile. The aptly named Sport Wagon trimmed a second off the drop-top 0 to 60 time with a run of 7.6 seconds. It also tacked on a few miles per hour in the quarter mile, 15.7 seconds at 88 miles per hour. Now all 3 Series body styles except the wagon can also be equipped with a new for 2001 3-liter 225 horsepower inline 6. We sampled this jewel in a 330i sedan and nailed 60 in just 6.1 seconds and burned up the quarter mile at 14.6 seconds at 97 miles per hour. However, convertibles are more for getting sun burned than burning rubber, so back in our 325 Ci Cabrio, you'll easily find an ideal tanning position with 8-way power adjustable bucket seats, 10-way sport buckets if you order the optional sport package. The tilt steering wheel allows a clear view of a clear, competent, if incomplete, gauge cluster. To the right in the center stack, stereo and climate controls are arranged in an accessible and logical fashion. Rear seat room in the 325 Ci is snug, but that probably won't and shouldn't discourage friends eager to share in your open-air revelry. But they'd better be traveling light, as there's only 7.7 cubic feet of cargo space to work with. And if it's fast cargo you're eager for, may we suggest this 325i Sport Wagon. There you'll find the same interior layout and appointments as offered by the Cabrio and other 3 Series models. However, the wagon comes with a versatile split folding rear seat. Seat backs up, cargo capacity is 25.7 cubic feet. Backs down and 48 cubic feet of space awaits. But the 325i Sport Wagon is way more than just a bulk mover. This square back, like all 2001 BMW 3 Series, moves your soul. The wagon attacks the low-speed slalom with much of the same grace and finesse as the coupe and sedan. The rapid side-to-side transitions are wonderfully balanced, and body roll inside the cabin feels minimal. The convertible demonstrates the superior torsional stability control with all-season traction control and dynamic brake control. That, when coupled with ABS, brought our Cabrio tester to a stable stop from 60 and an average of 103 feet. With nearly 12-inch disc all around, these brakes mean serious business. And with its 3 Series pricing structure, BMW means to do serious business too. Our 2001 325i Sport Wagon carries a reasonable base price of $29,970. The 325 Ci convertible is a little pricier at $36,560. With many of the active and passive safety features previously found only on the more upscale models, new and more powerful engines, a higher level of interior comfort, and a well-deserved reputation for producing drivers' cars, BMW seems bound and determined to cover all the bases with a 3 Series car. What a pity the 3 Series team has only 10 players. I hope you'll join us next week for more Motor Week, when we'll test the most unusual Honda ever, the Element, and Kia's new Sorento Sport Ute. I'm John Davis. We'll see you then.
To learn more about Motor Week, television's original automotive magazine, visit PBS online at pbs.org or America Online, keyword PBS. To order a video cassette of this program, call 1-800-223-3678, extension 1685. Motor Week has been brought to you by
Pep Boys. We're car people. Oh, it's over.
That's entertainment.
That's better than the smell of new tires.
I gotta agree.
Same time next week?
You got it.
And by
What are you looking for? eBay Motors.
First time? No, it would not be the first time. Let me remind you that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wrote
platform of the alliance whenever any particular topic came to the agenda.
Let's to thank one of our sponsors, Farmers Insurance.
It's all you.
No, I insist.
It's your turn.
Nope, I think it's your turn.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Go.
I appreciate your appreciation. It fills me.
Safe drivers save money with Farmers.
Just for driving safely?
It's a Farmers policy perk. Get Farmers and you can get a safe driver discount simply for having a clean driving record for 3 years.
Come on.
After you.
After you.
Safety first.
Get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.